Welcome, everyone, to the Miss Art World podcast. I am your host, Catherine, with my co-host, Samuel.
What up, Art World?
And today, I'm really excited to talk to two collaborators. We have Isla P. Gordon with us, and then we have Ashley Kaye, who are performance collaboration partners with Milk and Honey. And if you're looking that up on Instagram, it's a mind of milk and honey.
That's correct.
I was gonna dyslexic that so hard right now.
A lot of N's, a lot of milk.
Why is it mind of milk and honey?
Because we started with like the land of milk and honey as like a kind of like starting point. And then that didn't kind of like make sense for like a collaborative duo. And then there's a cosmetics brand called Milk and Honey. They make like lotions and creams and stuff, which is also like kind of on brand for us to have like stuff rubbing up on your face. But we also wanted to avoid any kind of confusion. So we just went with Mind of Milk and Honey. Of course, like we're all of it kind of exists in kind of like an imaginative, dreamlike, surreal realm, so that kind of like evoking the mind kind of made sense in that regard too, beyond just the practical.
Oh, nice. It's funny how you come up with a great name and then you start doing more research and then you're like, oh man, this other company is like doing the same thing, or there's like a lot of confusion.
Yeah, even on the Instagrams, we tried to have it just be Milk and Honey at first, and then we were trying to figure out how to make it unique, because I think that one was taken already. And like, well, what is it then? It's not land, it's not this. And so yeah, the mind.
Yeah, you try all the Hotmail strategies where you put like XX Milk and Honey, XX Milk and Honey 420. I don't know.
Yeah, all the add-ons, the additives.
Because you would be like 10787, something that just doesn't make sense at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of how we landed on the Mind of Milk and Honey, but Milk and Honey as a duo, definitely to represent. We didn't want names because that always comes with like kind of like an ownership. We found out some people would put one of us before the other, or say, oh, you're collaborating with this person, and so like the authorship of the work came into question. We didn't want those questions either, so it's kind of where we started with the name.
So do you guys feel like one of you is milk and one of you is honey?
I guess she's sweeter than me, so maybe she's honey and I'm milk.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just kind of like these characters, and at any time one can be milk and one can be honey. It's not, I think, like the interchangeability of it more than anything. I feel like I jokingly refer to myself as milk sometimes though.
Yeah, it switches really. Yeah, because the characters themselves try to be by wearing the suits in our performance. I guess we could talk about that a little, as we wear these like Sentai suits in the performance videos and things like that, trying to strip away the idea of gender and identity a little bit, because that's a lot of what we work around, those kind of topics with that. So I think it's interchangeable as the characters are.
So what's your performance that you're going to do for the upcoming art show?
Yeah, so
Samuel has no information. The upcoming art show.
Well, because Katie keeps confusing me. She keeps going, you're going to Art Basel, but it's not Art Basel. It's something outside of Art Basel, but it's still in the same area. But you're not invited to Art Basel. So
yeah, you're not quite here. You're like in the,
So it's right. Satellite art show with performances alive, and we they're renting as people do at Miami Art Week, they rent a space, right? So there's kind of like I would say a retail space, relatively deep, but there's an upstairs balcony, and so we'll be occupying the whole upstairs balcony with our installation. I think it's around 14 foot by 20 foot. So we have these fine things. I don't know if you have to censor this for YouTube.
I love them. They're nipples, right?
Yes, yeah. So these are nipple pillows, which feature prominently in the installation, which we're kind of like tentatively calling Motorboat Miami. So Milk and Honey Motorboat Miami. And we have soft sculpture that people can interact with, kind of pick up with. We're gonna have a website aggregating posts from that hashtag Motorboat Miami hashtag. So anyone interacting with our sculptures in the satellite space will be able to share them and then kind of like see other people doing the same thing. So it's a way of kind of like challenging people's assumptions about the body. But there's a large freestanding sculpture about Ashley's height. And two large body chairs. So you'll actually be kind of like sitting on
a belly
bodies,
with like
on a body with
parts coming
limbs
out.
and inside a mouth. So we're kind of keeping those under wraps. We want them to kind of be a surprise for everybody there. And then there'll be a
Videos.
a single channel video streaming. We had wanted to have a couple videos in the space, but ran into some technical limitations. So there will be a single channel video about 10 minutes long, kind of like looping continuously in the space. Kind of
where the performance kind of comes into play, where the characters start interacting with the sculptures, and you can see more of the body and how that's being used in the performance there. So it's kind of like interactive performance video installation art.
You checking all the boxes, like that's awesome.
When you guys are out on the balcony, can people underneath see it up? Or is
I would say it's like kind of like it's like balcony's probably, I think they're probably saying like mezzanine level would probably be a better description of it. But yeah, so there is like kind of like a hip height wall. So we do have a piece that's kind of like lurch over the wall a little bit. So people will be like, oh, what the heck's going on up there? But there won't necessarily be that. There's an element of kind of like surprise going up the stairs.
It's definitely a little more like you have to go up and start interacting and then immersed in that kind of world.
Do you guys live close by, or are you guys gonna have to rent a U-Haul?
We are driving. We are hauling a bunch of these down, looking like the Beverly Hillbillies, like nipples hanging out of the back of the truck.
A bunch of nipples in a car for 19 hours, I think the drive is on Black Friday, 19 hours. So we're hauling down, staying for the week. I was even flying back for a couple days and then coming back because of work reasons. But yeah, it'll be a very long and tiring week, but super fun, I think. Yeah. Have you either of you been to, I mean, Catherine, you probably have been to Art Basel, but Samuel?
I have not. So this is the first time I'm going. I'm going as Katie's assistant to help her with her installation and whatnot.
Got him a shirt. It says Miss Art World's assistant. So we're gonna be
nice
rocking t-shirts.
Awesome. Yeah. And so you guys will be there the whole week as well, or?
We're gonna be there. We fly in the 28th and then we fly out that Friday, which I think is the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th or the 5th. That's cool.
Very cool. And you're like kicking it off too, right? You're like one of the first.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that, but 3:00, baby, I'm just gonna go for it, and then I can enjoy the rest of it. So that will be cool.
We'll be there. I'm excited.
Very cool. When you guys are performing, is there a time period when you're performing too, or?
I think it's just the installation. We don't have a live performance for this particular installation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing planned. I mean, we'll probably be in there like doing weird stuff.
We plan to bring the suits and do a lot of like improv stuff. So we'll
just kind of like impromptu things, but nothing kind of like scheduled. The space is kind of like there for other people to activate.
Okay. I was hoping to see the suits.
I'm sorry, Kate. I think I talked over you.
No, go ahead.
Did you guys make your chairs then?
Yeah, so we actually photograph our own bodies and then print on this fabric and hand sew the pillows and all of the soft sculptures. And yeah, so it's kind of that.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's sometimes people are like really grossed out. like we'll have a chair that's like a belly with like nipples on it, and someone will like hesitate to sit down or like refuse to sit down in it just because they're like uncomfortable with this particular object, and other people jump right in and they're like, oh, nipple pillows, and they just start like so it's been a mixed bag, and I think that's part of something that we really like to cultivate, is that kind of like who's gonna be weirded out by it and who's really gonna dive in, and that's like two different kinds of people that interact with them. And
Yeah, it's our own little personality test.
yeah, a little
Just gonna get a
reactionary.
read for what people are like, you know.
Yeah.
I feel the people that would have the hardest time sitting in the chair would just be older men. Just like,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are so many times that like open studios or exhibitions where a couple will come in and the woman like will sit down. Doesn't matter if it's like you know,
More masculine.
what gender
feminine
of the
chair.
body it reads as, they will just do it. And then the guy's like, no.
Yeah, no. It's just not for me.
And then yeah, they have like people start like teasing him and
Mhm.
it still won't budge. It's just a thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Make
it's
some
so
people-
funny because I can just picture like my great grandpa or someone going in and be like, nope, I'm never gonna sit in it, kind of thing. I'm just like, what's the matter with you sitting in that chair?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just printed fabric. Like there's no like other than
It's
being a
cotton.
body
Yeah.
representation, but it definitely is not gonna, yeah, it doesn't have feelings, it doesn't, you know, it's interesting how people like put that on the body. It's
Mhm.
kind of, yeah, even just images of it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk a little bit about your own background and then kind of how that relates to the concept of this installation?
Absolutely. Well, so we started Milk and Honey, I guess, back in 2019. Isla and I have been married for 6 years. So not only do we collaborate, we're also life partners. I got my MFA from the University of Arkansas and started mostly in photography, but I've always been kind of taking the photograph and trying to use it in different ways. And so during that time in grad school, I really started to experiment with different cutouts of frames, like kind of the one you see behind here, and getting away from like the rectangle and trying to get the printed image into like other things. And so the soft sculpture came into play with that, but for my graduate work, it didn't really fit in. And so Isla and I, outside of that, started to collaborate and kind of bounce ideas off each other. And we decided to put all of our kind of weird into Milk and Honey and just make it play, kind of playful and experimental. And as we started to really actually find people reacting to it, we started to think about it a little in a different way as Isla started to transition, and I'm a non-binary person. It just kind of fell into this idea of like bodies, and all of our feelings kind of got thrown into some of those, some of the work that we do within that about body transition, being uncomfortable with, you know, bodies and skin. So sort of like where I'm coming from, but Isla went to RIT.
Yeah.
I forgot that part, but you can tell us.
Yeah, so my background is in photography as well. So when we were down in Arkansas during her time in our graduate program, I had gotten really involved in the community. So I had a bit of like some momentum behind my individual practice. Was able to get some like grant support for my projects, and I was dealing with my own sort of thoughts around gender in kind of like connecting it to memory, the family album, and queer adolescence. And I guess I had more sort of questions, or we had some spillover, right? So we made a photograph called A Womanless Wedding, which is like based on like sort of like this, you know, queer historical event of inversion rituals, like powder puff football games, where like transgression is kind of used to reinforce heteronormative culture, right? And so we made that photo, and it was hanging in Ash's studio, and somebody said, like, you're just reinforcing the binary. And that pissed the heck out of me. Like, I was so pissed because it was just like the needlessly incendiary off-base graduate critique, and I already gone through grad school, so I was just like, no, I'm not trying to deal with that right now. And so then I was like, all right, we're out with the names, out with the faces, like, and so yeah, so then kind of like Milk and Honey was born. So the video that's going to be on View and Satellite is called Cultivating Mass, and it's kind of, it deals with the body sort of directly. Cultivating Mass is like a kind of like obscure pop culture reference from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where one of the characters like just gets fat and convinces himself he's gaining a lot of muscle, and but it's like this sort of like this hyper masculine thing, right? And so in the video, one of the characters is basically adorned with bologna, lots of it. And I guess and that kind of like connects to like the kind of impetus behind Milk and Honey, because we've really been kind of questioning how much we've just reinforced each other's ideas about gender. Like, we came into it from a conservative religious background, or a place of just utter confusion, and then just kind of like being kind of like, I don't know, there's like a lot of momentum behind it, and we weren't really doing anything in our marriage to kind of create space or ask questions which would kind of unpack all those gendered assumptions. And so yeah, in the video, you know, that sort of, that action is shown and then kind of like ultimately questioned, and then you know, the kind of the characters have this moment of healing at the end. And so that's kind of like what we're working on, and the kind of like what kind of encapsulates like a lot of the work we've been making with Milk and Honey over the last couple of years, is that kind of this push and pull between partnership as a healing thing, but also a constraining thing, and bodies as beautiful and cruel, and all these sort of these tensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you shoot because you talked about shooting the video, do you have a whole elaborate setup when you actually film it, or do you just kind of use your regular camera that you take the pictures with? I think it's called like DLR or
DSLR. We have a pretty decent camera setup. A lot of the video work we do is green screen, because we take images, and so we'll kind of make these skin collages and impose them in the backgrounds of the scenes. But as far as the installations, they're definitely more elaborate and kind of constructed spaces within that.
Yeah, so the one on View at Satellite has a lot of sort of post-production in After Effects. So there's like finger tentacles and stuff. So I mean, it varies. Like, we're by no means like sort of like high production value. Like, if you were like behind the scenes, you'd be like, how is this gonna look? But you know, it kind of like comes together. There's like we're kind of like, yeah, it's good. But we have, you know, it's funny because we actually did record a couple, like, you know, early in the pandemic, we recorded a couple cell phone videos, and ended up like, you know, getting those licensed to a little documentary project down in Arkansas. So it's like, yeah, we try not to get hung up on the technical too much. Like, you know, when it serves us, and other times when it feels more authentic to be a little looser, you know, that's kind of where we go.
When you say self-found videos, is it videos from your past that you found and then?
Oh, sorry, cell phone. Sorry about that.
Cell phone. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, I've never heard of self-found videos. Okay, cell phone.
Well, you know, that's funny you say that, because Ash used to make her friends do like ridiculous video concepts.
It did.
Like, take their Barbie dolls and like have wars and kung fu choreography, and I want those videos so bad because they sound like amazing works of art.
I found sorry, a little off topic, but I found we just moved into this house we've been unpacking, and I found a little mini VHS, so we'll have to take it to dance and see if it's there.
Mini VHS.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
It'd be great to be able to see that, especially when, because I watched my little brother do videos like that too, and most of them were just him going bam, 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 bam.
Oh, this was high production value. I had like 6 or 7 really close friends that would just like indulge me. And yeah, I would give them characters, and we had a detective video, and we did Charlie's Devils instead of Charlie's. It's ridiculous. Like they're just, it's too much.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you find people are respond to Milk and Honey as far as what your concepts are? Like, do you have a pretty good following from what you're talking about with gender and gender identity?
Yeah, I'd say that it really resonates with particularly like queer individuals. Like when we had the most like direct, like people have said things to us about like, wow, this is like really like great and powerful, like great, really, encapsulates some of the things that I struggle with or I want to share in my own work. So yeah, I would say it's been like really great. And I think I think there's elements of it that have connected. I've gotten feedback from some people that, middle-aged men, like I feel connected with it. They feel like trapped in, masculinity in some way. And so they really connect with like, because growing up, like you're not allowed like weakness or tenderness or anything like that as a boy. And so kind of like creating the space for that can be really powerful.
I think it's needed. I think the more artists that are having that conversation is just going to help society kind of be more open to understanding gender equality. And so I think it's really great what you guys are doing. And I think it's needed in the art world.
Yeah. And just some people like unpacking your own kind of ideas of those genders and roles, and like we said, not only in our artwork but in our marriage, it's really been kind of like across the board between our individual practices through Milk and Honey, and then the response that we got, just like why am I doing this, and is it something I want to do, or is it something that I think I have to do, I guess. And maybe the other person in the relationship doesn't mind doing that role, or like there's just so many questions with it that yeah, we can start to unpack in these. Our other video is home cooking, which is an interesting, that's also on our website. We have that showing in
Raleigh. Yeah, that's going on too.
Yeah.
There's an illuminate project in the storefronts of downtown Raleigh, starting December 4th for the month of December. So if anyone else is driving down to Florida next week, you can stop in Raleigh. But yeah, I mean, I think it's so valuable to just create that space for like that kind of discovery, just to kind of just push at the edges of what's normal or what's conventional, because those are always, limits are limiting, like they stifle, because I coming back to this response to our work, like I have a conservative uncle who, we made him say, oh, I get it now, it's okay to be weird. And so that's still a win, like a little like backhanded, like, we're not that weird, but
it's progress in some kind of way, because it's better for him to try to understand than not understand or be closed-minded with the whole thing. Because I always feel like it takes a lot of time for people to fully understand, especially if you're trying to understand the individual. And they could be very closed-minded, and as long as they can start opening up, because honestly all art is weird, so the more they get exposed to art and different concepts with it, it helps with understanding different messages.
I wouldn't say all art is weird. There's some boring art.
Have you ever seen a Thomas Kincaid?
Yeah. Tell me how he's weird.
Every light in that house is on. A lot of
they're just bougie. They leave their electric on. They got money.
They're out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no electricity going to it. So where are they getting this electricity from?
Well, yeah, there you go. Thomas Kincaid even weird.
I get that. I have found that weird is a trigger word for me because I've gotten that from like my parents. They're like, "Oh, you make weird art." I'm like, but it's not. It's just different, and it's questioning, and it's just pulling back layers of experiences, and it's like not weird to me at all. And it's always a surprise when someone's like, "Oh, you make weird stuff." I'm like, it's not though, but maybe to you it is. I don't know.
See, I could never tell because our work, both of our individual practices and Milk and Honey have gotten so many just like, oh, that's like really grotesque. And I'm like, is it though? Like I thought it was like kind of nice and whatever.
Yeah,
or like
because we're always like reining it in. We're just like, no, that would make sense.
We're like, that's too much.
But then so what we put out there is like dialed back a couple notches, you know what I mean? And so then it's like when it gets a weird comment, you're just like, oh really?
Yeah. Or like a really strong reaction, you're like, well, okay.
Like,
Yeah,
this is how we were originally planning.
Yeah, there's a few setups that we'll save. I mean, the home cooking video, Isla has an octopus on her head.
That's true, yeah.
There's like, and then she's been covered in fish and who knows what else.
Yeah,
really.
I mean,
it gets, yeah, we can get pretty.
Yeah, I always just come back to this idea that I feel like we're living in exceptional times. And I feel, I just personally feel that like things are pretty extreme out there. And so like to make art that is like equally like kind of like amped up in some way doesn't feel out of place,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think like that's my relationship to this kind of like this idea of weirdness or any kind of like extreme quality is it's just like, well, like I'm not gonna like just make a Thomas Kincaid painting about, how I feel right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to, honestly, it's not going to last the test of time. I feel for real art, you want it to mean something more than just, oh, that's a pretty picture, or that's nice to look at. It's something that has a story behind it. And without that story, then it's not really art, it's just a drawing.
Yeah, it's kind of like you want that reaction. We want people to question why are they doing that to themselves? Why is it the body? What is the story here, and what am I supposed to kind of get out of it? Am I supposed to feel happy and playful and I love the body, or am I supposed to be grossed out by it and start questioning things? And I think in our work it's a little bit of both, for sure. But that's what you want in art, right? You want to be like, well, what is that they're trying to say to me? What is that doing for me?
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a strong reaction, it's good.
Do you like asking people at your show what they thought it meant? Or do you stay away from those?
I am I'm like the silent one in the Penn and Teller kind of group. I'm a little shyer than Isla, so I tend to stay away. I'll wear the suit and interact with people that way. And I like to eavesdrop more than ask. Like if someone's looking at it and they don't know I'm the artist, absolutely I like to eavesdrop and see what they like talking about. But direct questions, I usually don't, unless they ask me directly. We don't have a conversation.
Yeah, there's definitely like two modes. Like we'll either do the sort of like surveillance, like just watch their facial expressions contort, or like conversations are great because everyone has their own sort of entry point to it. Like their reason for being alienated from their body may not have to do with gender at all, and so they can still sort of like relate to this sort of like this sort of like binary system that exists in our sculptures and some of the artworks in some way. So
or even just the body as like it has hair and like there's something there for a large range of audience. However you feel about your body, everyone has a body. There is something to think about. Even like you put a body somewhere, someone's going to think about it in relation to their own body. So yeah.
Has going through your performances changed your relationship with your bodies? Are you more confident in your bodies, more accepting, or?
I think it's allowed at least me to feel I'm kind of desensitized to these nipples. I teach high school and I have a lot of nipples to sew. And I was like, oh, I could just bring them on my prep period and sew. And I was like, no, I can't bring nipples to school. I had to like stop and be like, I'm like so desensitized to this like image that I'm like, that is so inappropriate. I can't do that. But like for a second, I was like, oh, I could get so much done during my prep period, but no. So as far as that, I'm definitely more comfortable with like the image of the body and like displaying my body in a way that's like something I was never comfortable with before. And then again, making the work and us having these conversations, allowing the space to be like, I don't want to do that in this relationship. Like that's not the role I feel comfortable taking on as an expectation of what I grew up with. I was just like, you start to question, realize I could do this other thing, but maybe that's something that someone else could pick up on. And so I've come to a lot of those conclusions and realizations and conversations with the work. So it's really kind of changed that aspect of our marriage and the way I feel about, kind of myself.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of because my body was present in my work going back a couple years, 3 or 4 years, directly like in varying states of undress. And I think it's definitely helped me to kind of reclaim ownership or retain ownership of my body in some way, especially like since transitioning. Transgender female bodies are often sort of fetishized. So as much as sort of like visibility of my body is sort of like an act of resistance, it's also like a sort of sticky relationship with sort of like commodifying it. But I think that, because I'm able to kind of like put it out there in this sort of the manner that I want, in the way that I want, in like kind of like the situations that sort of like work for me. It feels good. It feels edifying.
Yeah, that's something that I've thought about a lot in my own work with as far as ownership. Like I'm taking ownership of my body and not like falling into what beauty industries have told me I need to look like and do and dress and present myself. So I think it's really interesting that you're using bodies, and I'm excited to see your nipple pillows and chairs.
And motorboat them. Feel free to motorboat.
Yeah. Well, I think we're just about at time. Samuel, did you have any last questions?
I did. So if anyone's down there, can they see your show, or do they have to buy tickets, or how can they interact with your art if they're down in Miami?
So come to Satellite Art Fair. It is a couple blocks away from the main exhibition of Art Basel in South Beach. I believe you do have to buy tickets. I'm not sure how much they are. I have not looked at that yet quite, so I'm very unprepared. But yes, they'd have to buy tickets to get into the fair.
Yeah, there's a full program schedule, so you can see when Catherine is performing as well.
Yep.
And there's a Billy Joel piano bar, which will be going in between performances.
Yeah,
so
super excited.
Check in and sing along to some classics and get some cocktails.
I should have asked this before, but have you both performed for Satellite before, or is this your first time?
This will be our first time. We actually had scheduled to do it last October, and then that got postponed because I was kind of like I lose count of the waves. It was a wave, and things got kind of canceled again. That was with Milk and Night Curatorial put together a punk and queer show. So it was kind of just like high energy performances. So we had something we were going to do with Satellite back then, but unfortunately that didn't kind of materialize.
but we're excited to do this in Miami and be at Miami because I love Art Basel. I love kind of walking around and seeing what everyone's doing. So it was fun. I went there right before it shut down, and then this will be the first time it's been open since.
Yeah, we might dress up like Pitbull, and we may just like be on the beach,
Mr.
dress up like
Worldwide
Pitbull.
clothes. Like,
I hope so. I really want to see you guys dressed
oh,
up.
it's on Instagram. You'll see.
Well, thank you guys again. Can you both share your own Instagram accounts, and then of course Mind of Milk and Honey, or even your websites would be helpful if someone's trying to find either of you or both. What's the easiest way to do that?
If you go to Mind of Milk and Honey on Instagram, there are links to both our individual accounts right in the bio. It's Isla P. Gordon and Kaye. Their website's currently down because it's too raunchy for all the little high school kids. The
high school teacher, that's what I am right now.
The PTA doesn't like it. But I'm at ilapgordon.com.
Yeah. The password for my website, so you can get in with the password, and it's just all lowercase eggs.
Eggs.
EGGS. Yep.
AshleyK.net. Password is eggs. You're a member of an exclusive club now.
That's right.
Go see all the art. Well, I'm excited to meet you guys in person when we get there. Thank you again for spending some time with us and talking about.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for
It was a lot
inviting
of
us.
fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your art. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Good.
Banjo says goodbye as well.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. Like always, you can find all of our podcast episodes at missartworld.com or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Miss Art World on YouTube and on Instagram, and we will see you later. Thank you.
Bye.